2019 Audi e-tron car review. That results in a fitting parallel with Audi's first mass-produced electric vehicle. Audi's parent company, the Volkswagen Group, is just about the world's largest automakers. Virtually all from the 10.5 million vehicles it purchased in 2017 are powered by energy sources, plus a costly, low-volume EV program. This way won't improve company's important thing anytime soon. But just since the Stone Age didn't end because humans ran from stones, the oil-powered economy will run dry prior to the wells do. The Audi e-tron can be a bet, a prediction with the items comes next. If it foreshadows the long term, the e-tron can be very much on the moment. Electric motors drive the top and rear axles, a 1543-pound assortment of lithium-ion battery cells rides within the floor, plus a mid-size SUV wrapper casts it into your thickest part with the luxury auto market. In a handful of years' time, the e-tron are going to be just one offering with this fully formed electric segment, with entrants from Tesla, Jaguar, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and even startup Rivian. Audi is just not talking about EPA ranges of this time, much more about that later, but we suspect the $75,795 e-tron will earn a bid just north of 200 miles. So it won't revolutionize the electric range game. It won't revolutionize the thinking behind an Audi, either. Even as Audi electrified the guts of this SUV, it left the brand's character fully intact. The e-tron seems like an Audi, drives such as an Audi, and, hell, even sounds as an Audi. The anti-Tesla. The decision to hew near Audi's established design language and familiar vehicle attributes should ease the transition from gas to electrons for your brand's current customers. It also makes all the e-tron the anti-Tesla of sorts. Whereas driving a Tesla would be the strongest anti-establishment statement six figures can purchase, the e-tron suggests a natural evolution for that current automotive institutions. In the e-tron, there won't be any Spaceballs Easter eggs or accompanying ludicrous acceleration. The Audi's front motor thumps out 168 horsepower and 182 lb-ft of torque as the rear contributes another 188 ponies and 232 lb-ft. It won't add breathless, though the e-tron will take off with the authority and immediacy we've arrived at expect from electric cars. Moving kit selector from drive to sport increases output from the front motor by 13 horsepower and 46 lb-ft, while using rear unit adding 33 ponies and 30 lb-ft to its total, but only for 8-second stints. Push through the kickdown detent at the bottom and the accelerator to get into that power, as well as the so-called boost mode is considered to trim almost the whole second through the 0 to 60 mph run. We predict a 5.6-second dash to 60 miles per hour for your 5,500-pound e-tron with this mode. Quick, although not radically so. Built over a unique architecture, the e-tron borrows most of its bolt-in components in the Volkswagen Group's MLB Evo platform. It rides on air springs and adaptive dampers that offer nicely controlled body motions. The UE's roads, as smooth since the windswept landscape, look almost like they were paved yesterday and gives few chances to evaluate the ride quality. But flung down a washboard dirt road at 45 miles per hour, the e-tron easily sopped in the harshness. Over a short hill climb, the handling proved as predictable and resolute because Audi's, with front-end grip washing out long ahead of the rear end ever threatens to permit go. A brake-by-wire system skillfully blends around 0.30 grams of regenerative braking while using electro-hydraulically assisted friction brakes while steering wheel-mounted paddles toggle through 3 amounts of lift-off regenerative braking. In the tradition of Audi's internal combustion models, the e-tron's cabin is wonderfully serene at speed. as wide, flat, and empty as being the desert which they cut through. The highways surrounding Abu Dhabi offer speed limits that occasionally stretch beyond 87 miles per hour to 99 miles per hour. Even at those velocities through the standards established by earlier revs, the e-tron is really a tomb. An acoustically insulating windshield and side glass and extensive underbody insulation block the din of wind and road noise that might otherwise fill the acoustic void produced by the absence of an internal combustion engine. More impressive, Audi has basically eliminated the high-frequency whine that's common in EVs during acceleration. The e-tron's motors are encapsulated inside polyurethane boxes and mounted for the subframes through rubber bushings. The spine subframe can also be rubber insulated in their body structure to isolate noise and vibration. The cabin is usually a modern, high-tech wonder. With exactly the same MMI touch response system employed in the Q8 and Audis large cars, some pressure-sensitive haptic feedback touchscreens control nearly everything away from steering, braking, and Excel. The digital instrument cluster could be filled with Google Earth navigation. Because the e-tron falls from the Q5 and also a Q7 in exterior length, it gives you ample rear seat space for two adults to comfortably outlast the battery's range. The known unknown, range. At some time of our try, Audi would say the e-tron will exceed 248 miles of range on Europe's optimistic WLTP test. Engineers and marketers wouldn't speculate over a US EPA estimate, but that will not stop us from this. Consider the Jaguar I-Pace, an architecturally similar vehicle with front and back motors totaling 394 horsepower and also a 90.0 kWh battery-created lithium-ion cells provided by LG Chem, exactly the same supplier Audi uses. Jag's I-Pace rates at 234 miles by EPA methodology and 292 miles within the WLTP cycle. Applying an identical percentage loss to the e-tron and assuming Audi doesn't drastically overshoot its 248-mile WLTP promise, we expect an EPA range slightly above 200 miles, a somewhat small number thinking about the big battery power. What gives? For one, Audi uses just 81.0 kWh with the e-tron's 95.0 kWh capacity. Every automaker leaves a buffer to shield the longevity from the pack, but Audi appears characteristically conservative here. Jaguar pushes its smaller battery harder, using 84.7 kWh with the I-Pace's 90.0 kWh capacity. Then there's the question of efficiency, a professional calculus of aerodynamic drag, friction, and losses with the electronics and battery management system. Like the I-Pace before it, we anticipate, the e-tron's EPA range will add for the evidence that, beneath hype, Tesla actually does hold a technical advantage in stretching more miles from the electrons. The Model X 100D, that is larger and heavier compared to the e-tron, extracts 295 miles of EPA range by reviewing the 100.0 kWh pack. Audis advantages. Tesla remains unchallenged in ultimate range and electric acceleration, but this Audi carries advantages in much less sexy aspects. With more than 100 years of car-building experience, Audi has strengths where Tesla has blind spots. The e-tron rolls beyond the Brussels, Belgium, factory that previously built the Audi A1, considering the experience and buying power from the world's largest automaker. Accordingly, the e-tron exhibits the common Audi building. When deliveries come from the United States in spring of 2019, the car is going to be sold and serviced by Audi's national network of 304 dealers. The battery is going to be backed by an 8-year warranty, effectively an EV standard when it reaches this point, but should something fail, your neighborhood dealer's service department will have a way to replace any with the 36 battery modules rather versus the entire pack. On AC power, the e-tron can recharge at as much as 11 kilowatts. That could allow it to add mileage more quickly versus the slow-charging Jaguar I-Pace using its 7 kilowatts charger. How that could result in a miles-per-off charging figure have to wait until you will find more official from Audi or perhaps the EPA. There's also standard 150 kilowatts DC fast charging capability. Although such charging stations are thin within the ground currently, we expect you'll see them multiply while using growth of Electrify America, the EV infrastructure company seeded with $2 billion as part with the Volkswagen Group's emissions cheating settlement. In the US, the e-tron incorporates a charging port on each side from the vehicle, with both located on the leading fenders. The driver's side is designed for AC charging and DC fast charging, as the passenger side is for AC charging. Curiously, in Europe, the next charging port can be an option. European e-trons may also be built with cameras as opposed to side view mirrors, but these will likely be kept from your market caused by US regulations. While the conventional mirrors do boost the e-tron's drag coefficient, we found the camera's small screens and side doors being awkwardly positioned. 3 EV SUVs. Between the Tesla Model X, the Jaguar I-Pace, plus the Audi e-tron, the luxurious electric utility segment now offers 3 distinct characters. The Tesla could be the futurist, breaking unspoken rules and pushing lithium-ion battery technology to its limits. Jaguar builds the driver's choice, a forward-looking design with sport sedan moves. With the e-tron, Audi is definitely the traditionalist. Sure, it delivers the modern styling and bleeding-edge infotainment Audi enjoys, but this is as close being an electric vehicle comes for the traditional luxury car experience. For buyers who continue being skeptical of battery electric technology, the e-tron has got the best potential for being the oil that greases the transition from gas vehicles to EVs.